Have you ever picked up something simple, like a can of soda, and just wondered, how does a company that makes millions of these things know what just one of them costs? It sounds like an impossible math problem, right? Well, there's a really clever system that makes it simple, and we're going to break it all down.
So let's get specific. Picture a massive factory just churning out thousands upon thousands of identical computer monitors every single day. How in the world do they pin down the cost of just one? I mean, you can't exactly follow every single screw and every second of labor for each unit. That's the big puzzle we're going to solve today.
And the answer? Well, it's a method called process costing. And the core idea is honestly brilliantly simple. It's all about averaging. Instead of driving yourself crazy trying to track every tiny cost for every single monitor, you just figure out the total cost for each big step in the production line, like the assembly department or the painting department, and then you divide that total cost by the total number of monitors. It's how you make the impossible completely possible.
To really get this, we're going to follow the money. Seriously, let's trace the journey of every single dollar, from a pile of raw materials all the way to a finished product sitting in a box ready to be shipped out.
Okay, so this diagram right here, this is our roadmap. Now, I know it might look a little complicated at first glance, but it's really just telling the story of how money and materials flow through a factory. Let's just break it down together, piece by piece.
This whole journey really flows through a few key stages. As you can see, it all kicks off with buying the materials. Then, it moves through different production departments where more costs get piled on. And it only officially ends when that finished product is sold to an actual customer. We're going to follow this exact path on our diagram.
All right, look at the left side of our map. The journey begins when the factory buys all its raw materials. Then you see how the costs for those materials, plus the labor to work on them, and all the factory overhead, electricity, rent, it all gets bundled together and poured into the first big bucket, the work in process for Department A.
Now, this next part is super important. When the products move on to the next department, their costs move right along with them. It's kind of like a baton in a relay race. All the expenses that got racked up in Department A are passed directly onto Department B, adding to the product's running total cost. So, once that product has finally made it through all the stages of production, every single cost we've been tracking has been tallied up into one final number. That grand total is then transferred to the finished goods account. At this point, the product is officially complete and just sitting there, waiting to be sold.
So that seems pretty straightforward, right? Costs just flow from one bucket to the next until the thing is done. But, of course, there's a twist, a clever little accounting puzzle that kinda complicates everything. Think about it. What happens on the very last day of the month when the whistle blows for closing time and you've got thousands of those computer monitors still on the assembly line, all in different stages of completion? You can't just ignore them. You have to figure out how much they're worth for your financial reports. So how do you do that?
This is where process costing gets really smart. The solution is a concept called equivalent units of production, which is basically a fancy name for a super clever way to count things that aren't even finished yet. Now, the key thing to get about equivalent units, or EUP for short, is that it's not a physical count of actual products. It's more of an accounting idea. It's a way of asking, okay, if we took all the work we did this month on both the finished and the unfinished stuff, how many complete units could we have made? And here it is. This is the aha moment that makes it all click. It's such a neat idea. Let's say you have 1,000 monitors on the line, and they're all about 80% of the way done. Well, for accounting purposes, you can just treat them as 800 fully completed units. It's a simple but really powerful way to accurately assign a cost to all that unfinished work. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a neat trick for the accountants, but why does this really matter? Well, this whole system isn't just for bean counters. It has a huge impact on how any big manufacturing business actually operates and makes critical decisions. So let's boil it all down. What are the big takeaways here? Well, first, this system is absolutely essential for any company that mass produces stuff. Second, it gives them a simple, reliable average cost for every single item they make. That's critical for correctly valuing all the products they have sitting in their warehouse. And all that data helps them make much smarter decisions about how to price their products and what their overall strategy should be. So now that you've seen the logic behind the curtain, take a quick look around you. That bottle of water on your desk, the pen you're holding, maybe the light bulb overhead. Which of the everyday products right there in your home were almost certainly costed using this exact same method? Once you know what to look for, you see it everywhere.